Does anybody know if the people doing day science are wearing those little keychain tag things again? Isn't that today?
I didn't hear you say
I saw someone.
Are they wearing things, do you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like
So nobody in here is doing it is what I was asking. Oh, is that the thing? Oh, it used to be like something you could see. Okay. I was just more wondering not to call him. So later on, as you go up through different math classes, a lot of times being able to write something as an exponent is going to be beneficial. So, like, there's different, excuse me, there's different properties and there's different things you can do to something written as an exponent that you will learn. And so for your purpose, being able to write a root as an exponent will be really helpful. Now the most basic type, is that too far for anybody writing the top part? Okay, so the most basic type is going to be the one on the left that you'll probably see the most. And that's just when you're doing the whatever root of a number. So I don't know why I picked 9, but I did. Let me put a different example because that's not a great one. Let's just say we were doing the fourth root of 16, okay? If I wanted to do the fourth root of 16, like, honestly, it's no different on your calculator. You can just still type it in. But you'll also find that if you type it in as 16 to the power of 1/4, that would give you the same answer as the fourth root. And for both of these, the answer would be 2. Now, you'd have to be careful. If you're going to try this on your calculator, some calculators, the way you type things in, mainly if you have a calculator that you're going to type it in like this, I think that's usually the division symbol. If you type it in like that, your calculator is going to give you an answer of 4. Now this is if your calculator writes everything on one line, okay? If you have a calculator that when you hit the exponent button, it automatically moves everything up into this little spot. If you have a calculator that does that, this would be correct, and this would come out to be 2. The main difference is that your calculator does order of operations. And this top one would give you an incorrect answer because your calculator would do 16 to the first power, because exponents comes before division, like in PEMDAS. So your calculator would do 16 to the first power and give you 16, and then divide by 4. And so your answer would be 4, which is incorrect. If you have a calculator that moves things to the power spot, this answer would give you 2, which is good. Thanks. If you can, when we get finished with our notes, remind me to change your attendance if I need to. Let me go. That's what I was trying to think of what I was going with that. If you have the calculator that gave you this incorrect answer on the top, the only thing you'll have to remember to do is make sure to put your fraction in a parentheses. Then it would give you 2. I think some of you also have a fraction button. On the scientific ones, I think it usually gives this weird little like L shape, if I remember right. Maybe some of you don't even have a clue how to use the fraction button. That's the look I'm seeing. Then I'm not even going to bring that one up. Either way, both of these are correct. You just have to know which calculator you have. Okay. There is a more complicated version of a fraction power. And like the one we just did, the bottom number specifically means what root, okay? So square root, cube root, fourth root, that would be the bottom number. The top number stands for what power it should be taken to, as well as the root. And I know it's kind of hard for me to say power exponent, they're kind of interchangeable. So like say this example, if I had the cube root of 8 squared, I could write this as 8 to the 2/3. Also know that the cube root of 8 squared is also 8 to the 2/3. Quite annoying. It doesn't matter what order you do them, okay? If you have a power and a root, you can do whatever order you like. So if I'm trying to calculate 8 to the 2/3 without a calculator, I would do the cube root of 8 first and get an answer of 2, and then square it and get an answer of 4. But the order doesn't matter. So let's say I decided to do 8 squared first, that would give me 64. Cube root of 64 is also 4. Virtually everybody does the root number first because it makes the answer smaller. If you're using a calculator, obviously it doesn't matter. But if you're doing it in your head, the root number first is better. I'm taking my time on this because this is kind of what everything's going to be based on today. Any kind of questions on something that's written up there? I don't know. Okay. So let's say you are given negative 125, which is in parentheses, so that you know the negative is on the 125. And it says to the 2/3 power. And you're asked to write it in radical form. So just so you guys know, on the upcoming test, that's definitely a kind of question you're going to be given. You'll be given something in one form and asked to write it in another form. You won't necessarily even need to find the answer. Part of what you're going to be tested on is if you just know how to go back and forth. Because knowing how they're set up will be beneficial for you. Now we're going to actually calculate this one together, but still. Okay, that's cool. So currently we're given one in a rational exponent form. You're asked to change it to radical form. And I know that wording makes it sound so much worse. As long as you know rational means fraction, that should pretty much be all you need. Because if you remember rational means fraction, then you'll know to write it with a fraction power. If you know that the word radical means the square root symbol, I mean, that's kind of partly what you need to learn. I did hear over the last 2 days that radicand was kind of a Pokemon word?
Yeah. Eradicate.
What?
Sounds like,
Is eradicate a character?
yeah, it's Pokemon, so it sounds like Pokemon Eradicate. Let's go.
I did not know that one. I feel like we could make a good math character out of that. I know almost nothing about Pokemon. That was never around when I was younger.
You know Pikachu.
That is the only one I know.
Everyone knows Pikachu.
Definitely the only one I know. Oh, and Ash, isn't he the little guy?
Oh yeah, Ash is the spoiled.
The guy that throws the little Pokeball?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I know. Okay, let's do this question now. I'm thinking a lot of you are at that stage. Okay, it's so hard to pick up the pyramid. 1, 1. Hank, you get rolled pretty much every day.
Hey guys.
Do you think you could help? Oh, actually, you were not even here for the first part, were you? Yep, okay. I feel that's pretty unfair to call on you for this one. 1, 3. 1, 9? Yeah, 9. Do you think you could help me set up the problem, not actually find the answer? How would I write that with the root symbol?
You would do, like, in the end spot would be 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. You said end spot?
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's a good way of putting it. So cube root.
Yeah, and then obviously, like, would you be able to do negative 125 in the root, but that's not.
Absolutely.
And then
And there's only one other number we got to put somewhere.
would just,
There's going to be 2 correct ways to write this answer. So,
oh, and then in the, it'd be a power to the power of 2.
okay, yes. If you're putting the negative 125 to the power of 2, make sure you write it like that, because otherwise that negative symbol isn't part of the squared. Or you can take the whole thing squared. Both of these answers would be correct. On the test, I don't care which way you write it. Naima, are you so excited about radical form that you're texting somebody to tell them about this? Oh, I didn't hear it, yes.
Excuses.
I should have guessed. I'm texting my mom.
I am.
I don't think moms text nearly as much as you guys say they do.
I am texting.
Yeah.
I'll show you when she texts me that.
Okay. I would not be pleasantly surprised, no. I think texting is terrible. I hate texting.
I blocked my
No,
mom.
I don't like the phone.
So how do you get a hold of like people? Yeah, people in general.
I just like talking to them.
But like, what if they're really far away?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, that's what the phone is for. If they're really far away, it's not like I should talk to them 24/7. I'll wait till they're home.
they're like forever far away, like in Pennsylvania.
I have not run into that yet, so when my first child moves away, then I guess we'll run into that. Fortunately, you guys aren't moved away and you still live at home.
Unfortunately.
Okay, we actually didn't simplify this yet, though.
What?
No, we wrote it in radical form.
I know the right person.
Do you want to call on the next person, or should I roll? Okay. I should probably go a lot faster so we get all done with these. But we need 3, 5. Alex, how do I find this answer? I would bet the bottom one is going to be easier for us to do. Unless you already typed this in your calculator. Oh, that didn't even occur to you. That's good. Some people in here have devious minds, and they immediately typed it in the calculator to get the answer first. No. Because you're smart. You got 25, but you don't even know if that's right.
I got 25 too.
I'll put a question mark there, because we should actually figure that out. Not the calculator. You have to be smart enough to be able to run the calculator correctly. So, let's make sure that we actually type that in right. Cube, yeah, I know the answer already. You guys are like trying to yell at me like I don't know the answer. Cube root of negative 125 is negative 5, which is why you guys shouldn't have been using the calculator. Squared would be positive 25.
calculator for these. Cause it's just.
Oh, you're not always gonna have numbers that work out great. So that's usually the benefit of the calculator. Yep. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Most of these should be easy enough to do in your head, but I know not everybody is really good at larger numbers. Like I know not everybody knows the cube root of 125. So I get that. Okay. Why don't you guys see if you can find these three answers? If you're using a calculator, only use it for the bare minimum. Like if you don't know the fourth root of 625, which is totally okay if you don't. You guys would be shocked that 95% of the adults that I know can't even calculate like 10% off sales.
Bro.
Or like how to figure out a tip. Or like how to figure out a tip.
Your Apple Watch automatically does tips for you.
Okay, but you need people smart enough to program those Apple Watches. And I want you guys to be that because then you get paid a lot. Not only that, you don't need the Apple Watch to calculate a tip.
I do.
That's the point. You don't.
I think you, that's it, 1/3, like, does that 64?
That's 64 to the 1/3. Yep.
The 1/3, so we need to find the cube root of 64.
That is a good question. That's literally what it's asking you to do.
Yes, that's, okay.
I'm not saying you're right. It's just that's what it's asking you to do.
She texted
Yes.
me back.
What?
My mom. She texted me back.
What are the chances that your previous message said how much you love your math class?
0.
Oh, so it sounds like you lied about that part. I just don't get why everybody feels the need they have to text everybody 24/7.
You don't miss your mom when you're at school?
No. I talk to my mom when I want to talk to my mom. You don't have to feel connected to somebody all the time. It's okay to live your own life.
Yeah, exactly.
We solve them, we can't solve, we can't put it into a calculator.
If you're using a calculator, just use it for the bare minimum part. Like don't just type the entire thing in the calculator. Like if you need a calculator to help you figure out one individual part, no problem. So this is exactly why on the test, some of your questions are going to be written as, how do you write it in the other form? Because I know you can just type it in the calculator either way. And I want to know that you know what's going on with it. Alex, I think I called on you last. Can you tell somebody to do A? Okay, Connor.
Bro, you're a sellout.
What? You always want to answer, but now you don't?
Okay, I got you, bro.
All right.
So, it's gonna be 64 to the cube root.
So cube root of 64.
Yep.
What you said was correct, but generally you're not going to say to the cube root. So the wording to the means a power.
And then equals 2.
Or 4.
Or 4. Oh yeah, 4, sorry, I was thinking of another one.
Yep. Okay, Connor, choose the person for B, please.
Right.
Alright, these two.
A little explanation in between would be good.
No, BS4. BS4, it's, 4 goes, I'm sorry, what?
It's 8.
It's not 8.
Oh,
It's
oh,
not,
is that a
it's
5?
4.
Oh, I thought that was a 3. What?
That would be even more,
No, okay, brace. Let's just slow down, take it step by step.
Alright, so 5/2 turns into, 2 1/2.
You're correct, but that won't help us.
It's how I figured it out.
Really?
Yes. It's easier for me to work with bigger numbers rather than bigger fractions.
Wait, no, I actually really want to know how you did it with 2 1/2.
I did 2 1/2, then I took the half portion and I put it, and I did half. I took the half portion, I did the 4 that I did normal. I
Okay.
don't know how to-
Yep. Wait, what did you get as the answer? Let's go with that to see if
I got 4 as the answer.
you got 4 as the answer. Ah, okay, so that's why it didn't work. That's why I was curious, because I'm sure some people can figure out 2.5 power, but most people aren't going to be able to come up with it that way. So this particular one, the 2 on the bottom means square root. So square root of 4 is 2.
Yeah,
And then I'm going to take that answer to the 5th power.
okay, I did that the other way around.
So then it would become 32.
Okay.
No, that's fine. That's why I was curious. So honestly, if you can figure it out with the 2.5 power, that's fine. But most people, that's not really going to click. Okay, good. Bryce, do you think you could help me pick C? The person. So Kayla. Okay, Kayla, you were too slow.
Okay, I did the 4 in the corner and then 625 in the middle. And then,
You're lucky that I understand teenager.
And then the third power. Cubed.
That's perfect. Yep.
Yay.
Okay, I'll translate. I will translate. So the 4th root of 625, which is what you said in a very different way. So 4th root of 625, but I understood you. So that's really all I care about is if you guys know what's going on. So 4th root of 625 to the 3rd power. 4th root of 625, it's fine that a lot of you don't know that that's 5. Almost every one of our answers is really just going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Unless it's square root, and then you know a lot more of those. So 5 cubed would be 125. Is everybody okay with these 3? Or is there somebody that, yeah, go ahead, Bryce.
I figured out, never mind.
Okay.
I figured out seeing a different way, and
So,
I was gonna ask if that works for every problem, or if it was just this one.
the only other way that I know of would be to cube 625 first, which obviously would be large, and then take the 4th root of that answer.
That's not at all what I did.
That's what I figured.
Yes, so I knew that, well, actually,
If you knew that it was kind of based off of 5,
yeah,
then you basically did what this said, just kind of in your head, essentially in one step. And that's okay too.
never mind.
So then it would always work. If you kind of figure out what number it's based off of, that works for sure. Okay. Oh, yes.
So I'm just confused, like where you got the 5 cubes for C.
So what I did first was the bottom number, which is the 4th root of 625. And you just do that on a calculator if you don't know it. But okay, so I knew it was 5. And then I did the top number second, which would be cubed.
Okay.
So I found one answer first and then found the second answer.
Okay.
You don't have to do it in one step at all. Yeah. Correct. Nothing of this will be plus or minus because once you start using symbols, it'll tell you which one to use. Good question. Okay. I don't know how many pages we have left. Hold on. Why does this program always crashes? Slightly hurry. I don't want to use up your whole hour, is basically all I'm saying. We certainly can, but I don't think you want to. Kayla, do you want to call on somebody or do you want me to call on somebody?
I'm calling Kelsey because she tried to make me call Grant.
Wow.
She was like, yeah. I was like,
Sounds like retribution a little bit.
yeah.
Okay. Well, it's promoting you guys actually speaking, so it works good. Kelsey, do you think, without me saying anything, because this is the opposite direction, do you think you can tell me how to write A as a fraction power?
7 to the power of 3 over 4.
Perfect. Now, it says simplify if possible. This one we definitely can't simplify because the fourth root of 7 really isn't any kind of answer we want. So in this case, this is simplified. Thanks. Okay. Who's going? No, you can't choose Kayla. I can roll if you want. Jake.
Let's go. Okay. You do it?
So the 11 is the whole number,
Base.
the base, and then you take the 3 and put it on the denominator and the 6 in the numerator.
Okay, can we simplify this one?
Yes. Put it over like, you can do it to 2.
Perfect. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So then the answer is
121.
perfect. If you can simplify it, you should. The fraction exponents work like regular numbers in terms of simplifying.
So for A, you can simplify because it doesn't give you like
It doesn't really work out. So 7 to the 3/4 is kind of the simplest answer. I mean, if you really want to make it a decimal, you could, but there's no need to. Yeah. So this is that whole topic. We okay with this? I feel like this way usually for some reason is easier than the other direction. That's why I started with the other one. Let me skip the try on your own because I think you're okay. Last thing, things we've already learned. That's why it says refresher. These are things we've already learned. Basically, you don't need to write these down if you know them, which means that 95% of you need to write them down. You don't have to know their names, though. I'm not worried about you knowing their names. To be blatantly honest, I probably don't know their names. You just have to know how the numbers work. And that's what's written on the left in blue and green.
Is number 3 equals a m times n?
Yes. You could just write MN. Now, as you're writing these down, Rocio, as you're writing, we're trying to finish. As we're writing these down, feel free to ask if you don't understand something that's written up there, or if you don't remember the property, because I can certainly explain it to you again. Otherwise, for the most part, I was going to put these up here so you could write them down, and then we're just going to move on to questions. Yeah, Bryce.
Product of powers property turns into a m plus n, right? Or
Yes.
A to the m plus n.
So if you have two of the same bases being multiplied, you can add their powers together.
What's the third one say? For the A?
If you have a number to a power, and that's taken to a power, then you can multiply their powers. So it says m times n. So a power to a power, you multiply. And honestly, some of you might just naturally know these if you see them in numbers rather than letters.
What is force A B to the what?
M. It basically means the power can go on both of them. Now, the great thing about you not having school on Monday is, even if we don't get much time in here to do homework, you have Monday. Hey, I am doing work all day Monday anyway too, so you guys can.
Well, you have to.
I do. I get paid for it. Yeah.
What do you do on teacher workshops? Is it like prepping for your?
No, we have to go to meetings. Yeah, it is.
You guys go to union?
Huh?
What did you say?
We have meetings.
Oh, meetings. I thought you said to go to.
A union's not a place.
Yeah. Well, isn't there like a union meeting? Like, like once a year, you guys have like a meeting, right, to discuss it.
Yeah, but a union isn't a place. It's just, yeah. No, during the school day, we have workshops. I think one of them, we have to meet all the math teachers and the high school math teachers in the district. One of them, no, we're probably going to go over new state standards. Then we have some kind of a ELL meeting or workshop we have to get certified for. Then we have a staff meeting with all the Eastridge people in the afternoon. Okay, does anybody need this page up yet?
Nope.
Yes, Kelsey, I can wait.
No, I'm done.
Are you sure? Okay. Okay, so we're going to do these together. First one says 25 to the 3/5 times 25 to the 2/5. Well, that's why we're going to do them. If something was easy enough that you wouldn't need any explanation, I wouldn't put it in notes. Honest question. You're just stretching very awkwardly as in trying to ask a question. I see. Yes, nobody would mistake that for a question.
Do you want us to solve this, or do you want us to put it in the other form like that you showed us on the last slide? Or both?
Your choice. It just says simplify. So it means you do it if you can. And if you can't, you do it as far as you can. So you just do things that are possible. Okay, on the first one, because I see a 25 times a 25, and they both have powers, the property says that I can add their powers. So what I can do is 3/5 plus 2/5. Okay, well that's fantastic. That becomes 5/5, which is 1. And 25 to the first power is 25. So on these problems, you're basically just going to do anything you can. And if for some reason you get to some stage where you can't simplify it, well, that's okay. Then it's considered simplified. So you're basically just trying to do anything that you can. Second one, because I have 2/8 that are being divided, I can subtract their powers top minus bottom. So I'm going to do 1/3 minus 2/3. Well, that one's a slight issue. I got negative 1/3. Should I pause? I see a lot of writing. Should I slow down?
You're going like lightning close to.
No.
You're going like movie speed.
I'm trying to think of the other guy from Lightning McQueen. Who's the one that had thunder?
I said, Tom Mater.
No. What? No, the guy that he was competing with was like lightning and thunder or something. Oh, no.
Chick Hicks?
Was that Chick Hicks? But
Yeah.
something with the thunder.
With the thunder.
Because McQueen was the lightning.
Was he the green car?
Yeah, the green car.
Yeah, Chick
Oh, I
Hicks.
hated that guy.
That-
The one guy was the thunder, the one guy, McQueen was lightning.
Yeah.
Okay, that was clear distraction. A negative exponent. Do you remember what that does?
Makes it.
Yeah, okay, that's one way to say it.
Wait, actually.
If it was a fraction, you could flip the fraction upside down. If it's just a regular number, you move it to the other part of the fraction. So this would become 1/8 to the 1/3. A negative exponent moves it to the other part of a fraction. This would be 1/cube root of 8, which is 1/2. Okay, now I will also speak to what Connor said because what he said was true too. If you have a fraction, a negative exponent flips the fraction. So some people, when they have 8 to the negative 1/3, like to change it to 1/8 to the positive 1/3. I would bet most of you don't like that. Like most of you probably think that looks worse, which is okay. But if you're okay with 1/8 to the 1/3, well, that's like saying the cube root of 1/8, which is also 1/2. So a lot of these powers and properties and rules generally can be done in whatever order you prefer. No, it's almost quarter after. I don't know if we need to try one on our own. Do you want to try some on your own? Oh, wow, okay. That was quite forceful. I want to know if you guys can type this in correctly. Because honestly, I mean, everybody sits there and says, why can't we just use our calculator? Well, a lot of people are actually really not very good at using their calculator.
I can't even get mine out of there.
That's not a good start, yeah. Be able to take the cover off, yeah. It's not looking hopeful if you can't even get the cover off.
To be fair, I never.
You got a decimal. Okay, what'd you get?
53.81.
53.81, okay. So that was a seconded.
Where's the fraction button?
Unless you round it, it's 83 point.
I'm not actually worried about the rounding part. Basically, if you're able to get the correct number, that means
I
you,
got that one too.
I just want to know you can type it in right. I didn't type this in yet, so I'm not like backing anybody up. Does anybody have a different answer? She's just afraid to say it?
She got like a negative something.
Okay, what are you going to do if you're going to be the only person that got it right and you're like embarrassed to give this answer? Oh my gosh. Definitely didn't get the right answer. Okay.
Oh my God, no way.
Maybe. You have something different. Alex, what did she get? No. What did she get? Oh. I thought you were giving me a different answer. Yes, Bryce.
No.
What?
I don't know how to put in exponents or fractions.
Okay, here's what I would be typing in. I would be typing in 64 times,
Yeah.
and then I'd put a parentheses. Well, I'm trying to take 2 to a power. So 2, and then there'll be a power button. And then my power is negative 3/12. So I would put another parentheses and put negative 3/12 and a parentheses to close that. Now, I know some of the newer calculators, it's really easy to see what's an exponent, so then you don't need parentheses. So some of you that have the graphing calculators, honestly, you can probably type it in like this, and it will, it'll be okay.
Is it okay to simplify the fraction? 'Cause that's
Sure.
like-
If you did negative 1/4 first?
Yeah.
Yep. The only reason it doesn't matter so much on the calculator is that it's going to give you the same answer, and 4th root of 2 isn't, it's nothing you're going to know either way.
Where's the exponent button?
Above division.
Oh, right.
Excellent job if you got that 5381, because that's what I got too. It's 5382, but whatever. I know I heard you guys say it might be rounded different. Very good. This is probably as rough as you'll run into in terms of having to type something in. So I thought it would be helpful to just put that up there, see if you can. I think that's the last thing. It is. Okay. We have 10, 15-ish, 10, what are we at, 28? 28, so you have 12 minutes.